Personalization and why what you see online is specific to you. You're watching Making Sense with Robbie. Let's get started. So one thing I've done with some of my accounts, on YouTube I do this, and on Reddit I've done this, but basically I erase my account, or I delete my view history, I clear my cache, or I use like a different browser to start watching. And like what this does is that it clears out Google's history of you, or they're basically the algorithm's sort of understanding of you, and it starts fresh. And so this is good because it kind of gives you an opportunity to get like a new sort of personalization. And because personalization is just going to keep on pushing you into like what engages you, but that's also going to like kind of create this sort of view of you, or that's going to create this it's going to influence your views or your perceptions of reality, because it's going to keep on pushing you in sort of one direction. Personalization is sort of what makes the internet interesting. Like, it's the reason why you can get a whole bunch of content that is sort of suited to your interests and to your needs and to like kind of the things that you're looking for. And it does this by watching or sort of analyzing your interactions. So what videos you watch more of, it will keep track of that, and it will be sure to suggest more like that. Like the videos that you comment on, or that you click the like or dislike button, like those kinds of things, those engagements are like sort of showing the algorithm that you're interested in it and in that content. And so what the algorithm does, or like what the machine learning does, is like it creates, or it finds more content like that and suggests it to you. And so you end up getting kind of into a bubble or a silo, because the content you like is what you get more of, and it's sort of a feedback loop. You like it and you get more, and you just keep on liking it, you get more. Like it, you get more. And then so you end up getting more and more of the same stuff, and there's like sort of less diversity in the sort of opinions or ideas or the content that you're being shown. Another reason why personalization exists is that the more time you spend watching is sort of the more attention you're giving. And like that's really what social media companies are looking for. They're looking for your attention. That's what they're competing for, your attention. And the more time you spend, the more ads you watch, the more sort of engagement you have. And engagement creates value for other users, but it also creates eyes to watch advertisements. And so there's like a financial incentive to get you to watch more and more content, to consume more and more content. And so for your own personalized sort of experience, it's like you get to have your own ideas reinforced. But for like the business or for the company that you're using, like they're making more money off of it. So like it's a shared sort of benefit. Like there's a shared, or like there's two different reasons why it happens. There's probably more than that, but like there's like two really obvious reasons why it happens. One thing too is like, YouTube is always updating its algorithms. It's always updating its suggestions, and it's always sort of adjusting what content it shows you. And like one thing that I do myself is I always look at my subscriptions. I don't really look at the suggested videos. I instead prefer to watch the subscriptions that I subscribe to, because I know what the ideas are and I kind of am curious about them. And so like I'm kind of following them. And that kind of doesn't always help the algorithm, because it doesn't necessarily give me relevant content. But it is certainly something that I do, that I think that, it seems like Google is sort of trying to discourage doing. They kind of have the subscriptions page a little bit hidden. But I would say like a lot of times when people talk about artificial intelligence, they're actually more thinking about algorithms, or they're thinking about machine learning. And yeah, teaching a computer to think is mostly about teaching it how to find patterns, teaching it how to sort of make recommendations and suggestions based on data. And one way that the algorithm, or that the personalization works, is that it kind of runs experiments on you. So it will give you like two pieces of content, and it will see which one you click, which one you watch, which one you engage with. And then that will determine what content you see again. Kind of keep in mind too that although personalization is about giving you what you want, it also means that you're kind of being a guinea pig for some kind of test that you don't even know that you're participating in. But sort of one of the underlying problems of personalization is that it kind of creates this hyper siloed version of reality. And everyone's sort of silo and experience is going to be unique and different and personalized to them. And so when that happens though, like it creates more extremes, it creates more division, because like we're not sort of sharing the same reality anymore. We're kind of living in our own personalized reality. And like the more specific the content is to you, like the more you kind of like go down rabbit holes, right? Like the more you kind of lose touch with sort of the middle ground. And I think that a lot of reasons why society seems to be the way it is these days is because of this personalization. Another sort of spin or another perspective to put on this is that like the more personalized your content is, the smaller your world will start to seem. And so the more content you're seeing that's constantly the same, like the more your ideas are being reinforced, your biases are being reinforced, your sort of your ideas and everything about the way that you understand reality is being reinforced, and it's also being like you're given more and more evidence to believe it. And so like it's kind of like helping us engage or develop our confirmation bias, and because it's not going to necessarily show us content that challenges us, because it's only going to keep on giving us what we already know, what we already want. And while that is good maybe for our egos or for our feelings of our understanding of things, it's actually, probably detrimental. And this is kind of something that's changed. Like in the past, you had like the television or you had the newspaper, and those were for more general audiences. And so the content that was created or the content that was presented was just more generalized. It wasn't super specific. And like there was bias and there was agenda, but it was more generalized. It wasn't super specific to individuals. I think a big problem with this is that like while personalization is fun, it's creating this situation where we're no longer sharing a reality. Like we're all living in our own sort of planets, we're all living in our own realities, we all have our own unique understandings of things, but we're not sharing a reality. Like we don't have like the same base, we don't have the same foundation of our understanding anymore, because our personalization is sort of pulling us further and further apart. And so while this is like a cool innovation, it's a fun innovation that helps us have our own sort of personal experience, it's also probably very destructive for the way that society works, because the more personalized our experiences become, the more unique or just different we become, and the less that we share, the less that we have in common. And maybe in the past the stuff that we had in common was boring, but that is sort of slipping away. It's having a negative effect on our understanding of reality, but also on our sort of personal relationships or the ways that we interact with other people online or on the internet. And so my advice is that, clear your cache, delete your watch history, create a new account. Give yourself an opportunity to let the algorithm, let the personalization have to start over again, because it's going to give you an opportunity to potentially see things differently. Because the more that you watch, the more that you feed, start that over again and see if you kind of get the same kind of stuff as you were getting before. Maybe you're going to sort of have a different perspective. Maybe the kinds of things that you'll be interested in will change. So let me know what you think of personalization. Do you like it? Do you think it's helpful? Or do you think it's actually destroying society? If you found this video entertaining or informative, click that like button. If you are curious about trying to understand how to think about things, but you don't want to be told what to think about them, click that subscribe button, because that's what I'm here for. You've been watching Making Sense with Robbie. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk next time. Goodbye.